irony about this fight is, while Placidusix is has very little resistance to lightning, this guy is super lightning resistant, which sucks because I just switched over to lightning, which is why I think it's funny. Let me see. What is an alternative? It's too much. All right. Oh, you know what we could do? We could go hard into Crazy Town. A stain. Yes, this is Elden Ring. This is base game, to be specific. Oh, wait, hold on. Yeah, that's better. Yeah, this is base game Elden Ring. This guy has too many damn hit points. It's gonna be pest threads. That's all there is to it. Oh, rude. What? I rolled that. Bale? Bale, I believe his particular resistance is fire. But I'm not 100% on that. It's possible. It's certainly possible that he has a different resistance. But I think his main resistance is fire. He probably has a backup resistance to lightning, but that I'm not, or an additional resistance to lightning, but that I'm not sure of. I haven't experimented too much with that. I end up doing a lot of, the thing is, I end up using a lot of Pest Thread Spears against dragons, because it's a super effective spell against them. Pest Thread and Pest Thread Spears. I think the best damage type to use against Bale is probably Frost. That's usually the way it is. Ah, you bastard. Now he's Frosty, which is what he's after. What? What hit me? Oh. Is that your attack? What? Oh my god. Always, please ask. That's what I'm here for. Lethal Ghost. Lethal Ghost on COD. Ask away. I like Ronnie's ending, Endless Night. Ow. No. What? It didn't even hit me. That feels cheap. What's the best way to get max level? You mean level 999? Technically level 731 is max, I think, where everything's 99, but you can keep gaining runes and leveling. You just can't do anything with the levels, I think. This is 731, give or take. Are you talking about that max level? Rune farm. I mean, you just need runes and as many as you can get, and the best way to do that is going to be rune farming on the shelf. It's the most effective high-pace rune farm, and as much as you can, you want to make sure that you're using, get yourself this talisman, the gold scarab, because that increases how much you get, and make sure you have the ability to make gold pickled foulfoots, and you can use those to increase your rune farming. That you can use that to increase rune farming as well. Realistically, that's the best choice. Oh, okay. I don't know if you noticed, but my Mimic was using all lightning spells, which I'm going to take them away. Going to take them away, haha. I really only want... Oh, I'll use a third spell, hold on. Your stats also affect how many runes you get, but not too much. So what you should do is crank up like Arcane first as you're forcing that max level to 700 something. It's going to take a really long time. Also, if you notice that there's a bunch of people when you're farming on that shelf, that there's a lot of those golden eyes mobs, keep going down. Even though you normally would stop, keep going down and see if ones below have those. If they do, keep killing those. Those give you way more runes. That's like a 5 times increase in rune count. That's how it's done. Yeah. Wait. 30 to 40 hours of constant farming. No way, it's 30 to 40 hours of farming. Where are you? Are you farming on the shelf with a golden sword? NG4 won't matter, it's your level. Okay, hold on. Let me make sure that we're like all on the same page. Get this. Alright, I have 82,000 runes, right? Alright. This. I'm going to change this to holy just so I'm more likely to kill things. And I'm going to change this to... you should do one sweep. Should be lethal to everything on the shelf. Shard of Alexander, holy, increase. The other ones don't matter. But we want the gold scarab. And golden picklefoot. So see those golden eyes right there? 1, 2, 3, 4. Watch how much I get for this. So that one was worth about 300,000 runes because the golden-eyed guys. I could have kept running down, but I'm not actually trying to farm. I'm trying to get to where I can show you something. So, alright, so no golden eyes, guys. Alright, there's one. One. Two. The twos is just in case sometimes they miss. That was about 180,000. That was 55. This is 67, so that's 120. 140,000. So at 140,000 per run through, each of these run throughs is taking 20 seconds, so I can do 3 a minute, give or take. But even if you're getting 100,000, yeah. Inventory or equipment? So if you're getting 100,000 each time, you can do it 3 times, and this is being pretty conservative. You can do it 3 times a minute, which is 300,000 a minute. 3, 6, 9, 12. So what did I say? 300,000 a minute. 3 minutes is 1.2 million. So 6 minutes would be 2.4 million, and you should be less than 2 million for a level. So a level, even at 100,000 per doing that, should take you 5 minutes for one level. I actually came up here. I'm not sure how much of my inventory you want to see. Yeah, I will get, so I've spent a couple minutes up here so far. So let's count it out. Watch, right? So 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005, 1006, 1007, 1008, 1009, 1010, 1011, 1010 seconds. That should be 6 passes at 100,000. That should be 600,000 a minute. Let's call it 500,000 to give you a little bit of extra time. 500,000 a minute is what you should be able to get if you just do sweep, sweep, come back, do sweep, sweep, come back. That should still be... oh, well, I mean, I didn't mean that you should go clubbing. Clubbing is crazy. What happened? Did you meet anybody? Or did you, like, wallflower in the corner, like, people watch? I prefer people watching anyway. So now you're going to make me get a level because I don't want to lose a million runes. Oh, yeah, that happens. Oh, that's crazy. Oh, I never camped. Durr. Oh, but I still got one. I mean, even at 100,000 a sweep, you should still be getting a level in 3 to 4 minutes. I'm good. How are you doing, Alexis? So what happened at the club? What kind of club did you go to? Oh, for the farm, notice, I'm not doing the bird. Once you're doing this, don't go to the bird anymore. Wait, what, you bring someone home from the club or go home with someone from the club? You're welcome. Here's the thing, max level isn't much better than half of max level. Okay, wait, what happened to, we're talking about the club? You said you don't want to go to the club again. And then you said we're not talking about the club. Oh, you mean where it's like, wait, no, the club never happened. We shall never speak of it again. Nope, not going to happen. What happened at the club? Talk to me. Not off the hook. Well, I should... Yeah, I'm well, but once you're max level, you never have to use a larval tear again. But it will take a long time to get max level. Keep in mind that as you go up in levels, it takes longer and longer to get there. Ah, I don't have to respec anymore. I'm only level 450. The only reason that you should have to respec at this point is if you want to have, like, a 3-prong build, none of which have crossover. Right? At 450, whatever I am, I've got... oh wait, let me finish out this foul picklefoot. Oh, there, it just went away. Alright, so if you look at my stats, I've got 80, 80, 70, 99, which you don't need unless you're doing heavy armor everything. 60, 45. If you do 60, 45, and this is level 450. At level 450, you can have 4 stats maxed. Hard cap. Well, basically max cap. Alright, got you, Lexus. Win that rivals match. So the only reason that I had to respec is I went from a melee faith to a caster strength build. Or caster dex. Diminishing returns. So the reason that there's a limitation, right, is it's an issue of the return that you get for the points that you spend. Some stats, the diminished return is so small that it's barely worth the points. When you go from, for example, going from 60 to 99 vigor is 200 health. That's about 40 points to get 200 health. That's it. You get 200 health. So I'd go from 1900 to 2100 for putting 39, but 40 more points in vigor. I could get more arcane, which will increase damage or make some spells usable, or etc. Mind at 45 is already utilizing, unless you're using talismans, a mind of 45 is already utilizing your maximum flask of cerulean tears. If you go more than... it's actually about 42, but having a little leeway is a good idea. So, and 99, by the way, is max, not 100. But, one more. Hold on. So here, watch. My strength right now is 52, right? So I've got in my main weapon right now is a sword. If I go from a strength of 52 to 53, my damage goes up 3 points. And it goes up 1 point for my other weapons, but they're not melee based. If my sword goes up 3 points in damage per hit, if I increase my strength. If I increase my dex, my main weapon doesn't go up at all. Just the staves go up. Intelligence, my spell damage goes up by 1 point. Incantation, same thing. Arcane, I get a slight increase in discovery chance. I am talking about scaling. Look, the problem is I can't show you everything. It doesn't give me the option to show everything that's there, so let me go this route. If you look at the weapons that I have right now, casting items are actually the easiest way to see it. The scaling right here, oops, look at the scaling of the Golden Order seal. It's 391. I get from Int and Faith, that's it. If I increase my Int and Faith, either one from 80 to 81, my scaling may go up 1 point. It is. Okay, let me make sure we're on the same level here. I'm not saying it does nothing. I'm saying the return is diminished. If you go from 39 to 40 in most stats, you see a big increase by spending that 1 point. When you go from 80 to 81, you see almost no increase. Well, I was. So when you're leveling, the question is what is it that you're trying to accomplish in that process of leveling? So for example, this weapon is Dex and Strength scaled, but Dex is higher than Strength. So if I increase my Dex by 1, I'll see an increase in the damage that I do. But because it's already at 70 points, it's a tiny increase. If my Dex was 40, which is what the weapon requires, now went to 41, I'd see a much bigger change. So the question is, where does it make sense to put those points? I could get more health by putting points in Vigor, right? Yeah, I could put another point in Vigor and I'd get some more hit points. I will survive something I wouldn't have otherwise. No argument. However, the value of that change is a tiny little function. Now, let me tell you, there is an exception to that concept, and it's a little bit meta to think of this, but sometimes the function that you're dealing with is a matter of the value that you get for the thing that you put in. But other times, it's literally a stepper function, meaning you either get it or you don't. It's binary. So by putting your... Right now, my endurance is 99. And with an endurance of 99, I can use this gear right here and have medium load, right? If I went to 98, I may not be medium load anymore. I literally went from being medium to heavy load. So if I don't spend that last point, I literally have to now change what talisman I'm using so that I can get to medium load, for example. Because I have to change my talisman, or I have to use a great rune or something, but the point is I have to change a talisman in order for me to get back to medium, I'm losing the extra 15% damage this gives, for example. So there are cases where even 1 point matters, but most of the time in almost all situations for most stats, that doesn't exist. There's a question of, great, you did 1 more point of damage. So over the course of the fight, when you hit the boss 50 times, you did 50 more damage. Did that really make the difference between winning the fight? Theoretically it could, but it's pretty damn unlikely. So is it better to have an extra 100 hit points or better to have 1 more point of damage? Well, 100 hit points means you're more likely to survive to hit an 11th time. And the opposite can be true, which is you're probably better off having more damage than more hit points. So, I mean, if you're level 731, you're going to have 99 everything, right? And if you're level 730, you're going to have 99 and something's going to be 98. Well, you got to spend a point. You may as well put it in there from 98 to 99. That's worth spending that point because there's nowhere else to put it. But if your dex is 40 and your strength is 11, every weapon you have, if you add more dex, unless it has no strength scaling at all, the damage you're getting from putting more dex on above 40 is going to be tiny, and points of strength will jump your damage up. So you want to put the points in strength. So it's not terribly complicated, but it's not as simple as just saying, why not just keep going up to 99? With stamina, I do need to go to 99 because I want to use the super heavy armor and the super heavy weapons, the shield, for example. If I want all of that and be medium roll without using a talisman, I have to have stamina 99. 98 won't cut it, or 97 won't cut it. Whereas something like, so now let me show you the opposite end of the spectrum is actually with mind, right? If you have a mind of, oh, let me get this level in, hold on, sorry. So, right now I have an FP of 268. And let's say that my cerulean flask gives me 200 FP. Okay? And let's say I have 10 charges of my cerulean flask. That means that over the course of a fight, when I use all 10 charges of my cerulean flask, okay, all 10 charges of my cerulean flask, I'm going to have 10 charges of 200. That's 10,000, or excuse me, that's 2,000 FP. And then I get 268 more. So I get 12,068. So I have, 1,268. So I go from 2,268. Thank you. 2,268. If I add one more FP, I go from mine 45 to 46. I will go from 2,268 total FP to 2,275 over the course of an entire fight. I will, by doing that, over the entire fight with the boss of my cerulean tears, I will gain a grand total of, what's that, 8 to 5? Is that 7? I will gain 7 FP over the course of the entire fight. Even Vigor works better than that, right? Because every time I hit my cerulean, I'm healing that Vigor back. But that's because you go... That's a complicated concept. So when you're thinking about where you put the points in, putting points in FP above 45, it's really above about 42, but you want some buffer for spells that cost a little bit more and don't divide evenly. So anything above 45 is completely wasted because you always have the cerulean to reload that FP. So the reason not to crank it up is because if I cranked it all the way up to 99, I wouldn't have 1900 FP. I wouldn't have anywhere near that much. But when I use my cerulean, I'm still only going to get 200 plus 200 plus 200 plus 200, and then whatever my FP is. So over the course of a whole fight, it's a small increase in my total possible FP. No, wait. No. The cerulean gives a fixed amount, right? That fixed amount that you get, it just, if your bar is huge, it's going to go a little teeny bit of your whole bar. You're only getting a small amount of your FP bar. If you want more of that FP bar, you got to hit the flask multiple times. Sure, you're refilling it all the way up, but you're still only getting 200 plus 200 plus 200 when you fill the bar. So the amount that the flask gives you doesn't change because your FP is higher. Your mind doesn't give you more FP on recharge. You're just getting the FP you get from a cerulean flask. Think of it this way. If the cerulean only gave you 1 FP, this is the degenerate case. Let's say it gave you 1 FP. You're going to get 10 FP out of the entire, using all 10 of your flasks. So the difference in how much you're going to have is 268 to 275. In that case, it's worth putting it up because you have crappy, you're going to have a crappy cerulean flask feed, and so it's not even worth using it, right? But when it gives you like 200, it's only an extra 68. So the only argument would be that you get that up high enough so that you can summon an ash, a spirit, and then you get what's left plus the 2,000 from 10 charges in your cerulean. In fact, for a caster, it's especially less valuable to have a high FP. It doesn't give you anything else. Now, again, if you have nowhere else to spend the points, put it in FP. That's certainly worth it, but only if it's worth spending the points. I mean, you know, do with that what you will. So here, look. If you look at my armaments, 549 to 552, right? I don't even gain, what's this, 885. So 883 to 885 if I put it in dex. Hold on, I'm looking for the one that's actually my pokey. Oh, that's a hard dex weapon. So that's like a special case. It's actually one that really is dependent on dex. Which is which? Hold on. Let me exit. All right, this is a simple one. So this is a... All right. See if this does a better job explaining. All right. So I only have one right-hand weapon, right? All right. Have a good one, man. So I only have a right-hand weapon right now. So if I go to level up, right, I'm not going to... This is punching, so it's not going to do anything. So 493. If I add strength, I go to 494. If I add dex, I go to 494. Between these two, there's not any significant increase in which one that I pick. But it's because if it was like 20 and 70, I'd get a much bigger jump going to 21. But the factors of what's going on here, you can see the result of the scaling on your screen when you look at what the attack power, for example, is in all these cases. And there are other arguments, right? Defense may be more valuable if you're getting defense from it. So if I'm getting more damage, but I had no increase in defensive power, whereas by putting it in strength, I do. So it's worth putting it in strength. I'm getting something more out of it than I would have otherwise. And that's also why I'm putting the stuff over there. But that's a different deal. All right. Back to where I was. We want you. We'll be getting back to the regular program here in a moment, folks. You and... Wait. That's not right. You're supposed to be there. Oh. I don't want you anymore. I don't want you anymore. All right. Depends on how you're trying to get them. So it took me about 5 minutes working up here with the correct setup. But normally it takes a lot longer than that. All right, let me get back over here. Crumbling Beast Grave Depths. Yeah. Oh, hold on. I want you. Oh, I've got the wrong spells. Ah. I don't even want all the spells I had before. I want you. I want you. And I want you. And I want you. Oh! Bite down on something. Alright, check this out. Spell. What's cheese? Don't you dare play this game exactly how it was designed. Oh, most people don't use the term cheese to mean easy. They literally mean it's a cheesy way to play. Like, it's stupid and you shouldn't do it. I will agree, it is definitely an easy build. No, I find those kinds of playthroughs really frustrating. And it's fine. I don't mean that I think they're bad. I mean they're not for me. I really have little interest in going through a whole bunch of effort, for example, trying to do a deathless and then dying. And then, oh, gotta start all over again. All that effort was lost. To me, it's not really fun. But if it is for somebody else, I really think they should. And that's not like, I'm not like trying to be snarky about that. It just ain't my thing. Yeah, this spell's kind of gross. In a good way. Wait, you died to fall damage? Where? Bloodborne's another Souls game, I believe. What? I just remembered why I had that weapon here. Watch this. Sacred Blade does an obscene amount of damage to those guys. Why? I hate it when it does that. Come on, stick your head out. Bastard. Alright. We'll do this the old-fashioned way. What? I missed. That's gross. All right. Ooh, wrong thing equipped. That was awesome. Aw, come on. Alright, where were we? We were here. And then we were here. And here. Yeah. I feel like I'm crazy sometimes. Alright, check this out. Oh, I need more gravelstone. Alright, so here, here. Now, this is what you want to do. You want to grab this spot here. Then you want to run back this way. Ooh. Then you want to, don't jump, just run. You'll take a bunch of falling damage. There is a guy back here, however, this guy is not those that live in death. But you can't push him off the edge. Load back up as always. Keep going this way. And you will discover an area that you may have found out and been like, that's weird, why is this here? This is why. So normally you come through this door from the Godskin Duo. Watch this. Hold on, there's more. Come through, you'll do the Godskin Duo if you go the other way. Then you come down here, you find this, and then you go this way, and you're like, I can't go anywhere. Why would I go this way? Because you're not supposed to come that direction. You're not supposed to come from in there. You're supposed to come from this way. Now, this is where stuff gets interesting. So once you get here... Oh, hold on. I got a change to make, I think. Yep. Lightning. So once you get in here... here we go. Look here. Did you know you can summon a helper for this fight? Recusant Bernal is actually a really powerful helper for this fight, by the way. He is very much worth having. Unless, obviously, you're doing a build without summons. But this guy's really good. everybody buffed up. Let's get that heal in. Just buffing like crazy. And then this is usually, if you've gone in here without going the way I just showed you, you end up going down there, finding that point. It's like, why did I go that way? You're supposed to come the other way. Oh, Dark Souls 1? Yeah, I may have to go back and check that stuff out. Certainly looks interesting. Bye. Bye. Oh, you bastard. There he is, maybe. Ah! Maybe. Yep. Yeah. Yeah, this may be the last playthrough of this character. I may go back to playing a lower level one, just to make things more interesting. That thing hits. Yeah, that's not what I meant. Rats. Waste of FP. That's okay. Yeah, watch this. See if I can get this right. Hey guys. We're running over here. Nope. We're running over here. and off you go. And that guy's gone. And now we get to play with Alexander. And the only question is, how do we beat him? How do you, Jill? Oh, okay. Let me explain that, Plumbing Evan. So, it's a combination. One thing is that I have a lot of synergy built into this outfit. Okay. What Holy Ash of War is that? Focus build. Boss Ultra, I'm high enough level that there's not really a focus. It's more like the only thing I don't have is a focus, which is my Arcane is only 45, which is crazy, but I'm level 450. So, my build now is based around what gear I have, not what stats I have, because I have basically all the stats to use everything that I want. Okay, the Holy Ash of War is called Sacred Blade. Yeah, I'll have to just show it here. It's called... Dang it. Sacred Blade is what it's called. You'll have to look up on YouTube where to get it. You have to kill one of the little scarab things, I think, and it drops Sacred Blade. So that's the next thing. You're actually also getting a downscaled version. I'm running on a 2K monitor. Anyway, yeah. I downscale it from how I play onto the screen that you watch. The resolution that I run at is 2560 by 1440. This is my res, and then I have the settings all set. Well, I don't know why. I keep putting these back on high, and then it keeps resetting it back down. But this is what my stuff's set at. I have to return to the title menu. Alright, let me go to the title menu. No. I don't run any third-party mods. I do play Convergence, but that's actually run in a separate directory, so it doesn't affect... My game is untouched in that way. Let's see how bad cranking up my ray tracing is. Okay, so back to the DPS question. Alright, synergy. So, this is an Ancient Dragon Lightning build. It requires the DLC in order to do the full build. And there's a number of things that are all designed to kind of work together to make these weapons happen. One, Bolt of Grand Sax is a lightning-based weapon, and so anything that augments lightning damage generically will work on the Bolt of Grand Sax. One curiosity on the Bolt of Grand Sax, which is actually really frustrating, is this. If you actually look at the weapon, it says, and I'll explain why this is frustrating, but if you actually look at the weapon itself, it says in its description, Ancient Lightning Spear, so that you'd think Ancient Lightning, right? So think that Ancient Lightning. It even says in the description, imbue the armament with the Ancient Dragon's Red Lightning, right? And then you can charge to increase the damage. Yeah, I have. No, I haven't on this playthrough. But I'm heading that direction. The only time... Okay, so this is an Ancient Dragon weapon, right? Okay, that becomes relevant in a minute. So So in my gear, this lightning will augment that item. Okay? Incantations, in general, get augmented by this, right? And then this will increase the power of that thrown Grand Sack's spear. So that thing is increased by this. So that's some of the synergy that's here, but there's more. Every piece of this armor increases lightning damage by about 2%. More specifically, however, again, let me go to the description. Enhances skills and incantation of the capital's ancient dragon cult. So you'd think ancient dragon lightning would be helped by this. It's not. So the Bolt of Grand Sack's ability, even though it says ancient dragon in it, does not get better because you have this armor on. But each piece of this armor is worth like 2.5% increase. So all 4 pieces gives you 1,000. Gives you a 10% increase in lightning damage for the category of spells that it qualifies for. And then, so between these, when I'm using my physic, the physic has lightning increase on it. So I've gathered all of these lightning things together to make my lightning damage more effective. And that's one of the ways that I get the DPS cranked up. I'm not one to do the whole, like, give myself bleed, then use the bleed item. I don't do all of that. That's how some people get those even higher numbers. But I don't go that far.
City, but that aside, of course.
If you stick around, I'm going to go after Placidusix next.
Then let us begin.
Right. I am the great Jar Warrior, Iron Fist Alexander. Lend me strength, O warriors. Let us become one champion together.
Oh, and that item that I'm wearing now, the offhand piece, also increases lightning damage. So this item, Gravelstone, what it does is it says boost Dragon Cult incantations. So again, the same lightning spells that the armor works on, this works on.
My thanks. I knew you were the stuff of champions. It was a marvelous battle. I implore you.
But
take what I bequeath from inside me.
Let me give you one extra add-on.
Destined to one day break. But the great
Come on, Alexander.
Lived as a warrior to his last.
Come on. Come on, Slim. There we go. And there's your Shard of Alexander. If you're using the Gravelstone offhand as a damage augment item, you do not need to give it put any Somber Stones into it. Just for future reference. This effect, the effect where it says passive effects are not augmented by increasing the power level of the weapon. Just so you know. Alright, lift. No, those are separate. So actually, that's the critical point. Whatever, I'm going to say this very carefully. Whatever seal or staff you use to cast an incantation or sorcery is where it measures your incant scaling. Yes. So if you're looking at the scaling damage will increase as you increase the level of the seal or staff. Except it's sorcery scaling, but the scaling will go up as you increase the power of the seal. Whether or not you get the advantage of that depends on your attributes, because your attributes are what are driving that. The passive effect is a different thing. It is just a plus 10% damage. It doesn't matter if it's a +1 or +10 item, it's 10% damage. That is not affected by the scaling. But absolutely. Which seal you want to use is very stat dependent. but the scaling number is the only one you care about. Whatever you use to cast the spell, which is usually your main hand, whatever item is used to cast the spell, you want to have the highest scaling factor. The incant scaling or the sorcery scaling. Full stop. That's always what you want. There's a special case among sorceries with the Lusat's Staff, which gives you the increase to damage, but that's also an increase to how much FP that you use. That one is special because it's not listed as a passive effect, and that doesn't behave quite the same way. In fact, having that staff offhand will cost you more FP to cast spells and give you no damage increase. It's like the exact opposite of what you would want. I've always played mouse and keyboard, so I don't have any frame of reference to know which one is better. It's what I've always done. I have played on controllers in the past, and I don't particularly like them, but not this specific game. And I wouldn't argue with the belief that the controller is better. It's just I am unfamiliar with it. There are commands that you cannot do on a keyboard and mouse without accidentally doing other commands, or rather they're not overloaded in a way that's good for the user. Those things I think are terrible. And the controller may not have that problem, but I don't know. The one thing in particular is guard, right? It's very difficult to do a proper guard counter and guard and switch weapons and all that. Hey, bird. You know what they say, bird is the word. Bird, bird, bird. The bird is the word. Oh, I may be going over the edge. Ooh, alright, I'm not. Ooh, well, watch out for that. You ever noticed there's a bird up there? Let me beat this fight and I'll show you how I have my setup to do the streaming. It helps, I think. Let's see if I can get this right. No, damn it. Spell not go off. I had the wrong weapon in hand. Alright, well then I'll do it from here. Okay, so my setup is kind of interesting. I have 3 monitors. And I have 2 computers, and then I have a special streaming device that I use. I have a monitor sitting over here, which you can think of as a work monitor. It's in portrait mode, so it's good for texts, like long emails and stuff. It's designed for that. It's great for source code too. Then I have the main gaming monitor. That's what you're seeing. I don't know what that means. Sorry. I'm old. To use that 3 setup to goon? The third monitor is a special case. So that's actually sitting over here. The reason you keep sitting me looking over here is because that's where all the text is. So the camera's here. I know where the camera is. But when I look, what I see as what I'm streaming, it's actually over there on a monitor that's sitting over there. So what I have is the video card on my desktop has technically three monitors hooked up to it. I have the work monitor, if you will. I have the main monitor that I'm using, which is what I'm playing the game on right now. And then I have a, what's the name of the brand? Elgato 4KX. And it's a video capture device. But it's basically just a monitor without a display, right? It's got the HDMI port and everything. So I plug that in as a third monitor. And then that can be hooked up to a monitor that actually it feeds its signal to. That's not what I'm streaming. So that device is hooked up to that third monitor's spare port so I can actually look at it, right? But as a screen capture device, it acts like a third monitor. However, it says it's in this case, I have it configured to be a 2560 by 1440 monitor. It tells my machine that's what it is. And then my machine, those three monitors that are hooked up, it mirrors those two. So the machine that I'm on and then that device are mirrors. So I'm playing on this and it mirrors everything to that device. Then that device capture is hooked up to the second computer, which takes the video signal from it. And that's why I keep looking over here, is that's where the text is and everything on that second computer, and that's what's doing all the streaming. When I was streaming on the machine without the second machine, it's actually the machine that's now my streaming machine was my gaming machine. And it was competent, but when I was streaming and gaming at the same time, I ran into some FPS issues. It wasn't quite this smooth. So now the machine is dedicated to doing only one thing. There's not much on it besides the gaming stuff. So anyway, that's that. So one of the reasons that it's smooth is because I built the machine to be very smooth. I've got a AMD, it's a 9850 3DX, 128 gigs of RAM, a 5080, NVIDIA 5080 video card, and motherboard and everything set to work with all that. The usual sort of higher end video. Can't believe I didn't kill that guy. That's what I get for diddly fucking around. Hey, have a good night, man. You're welcome. I'll see you next time around, hopefully. Make sure to like and follow if you would, please. Always enjoy company. It was basically playing with the guy. I'm not going to do that now. Anyway, so when people find that I have like an obscene amount of FPS and everything, I mean it's a built, paid for thing. And what's really gross is the memory spike in prices happened right after I bought this. So I spent probably $400 on the RAM that's in this machine, and now that same amount of RAM is about $1,500. Thank you, AI. Still get him. Wow. Mean. All right, Placidusix. What the hell? What's going on here? Anyone? What the hell? What a pain. That was exciting. Got stuck in a wall. Haven't seen that happen in about forever. Seriously? Lame. Alright. At least I don't have to deal with the lightning anymore. Really? interesting. I can see some tearing too now. No, it's not your phone. That's weird. That shouldn't happen, though. Well, I know it may have caused it, so I'm going to turn that off. I turned on ray tracing a little while ago, and it may have added the tearing. It doesn't on my screen, so I don't know why it went on that one, but no, I hadn't noticed it before. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Why is it not? Like, what the hell? Hold on, something's not right. Something in the interface just stopped working. Hold on. My targeting's not working anymore. Oh, they are dead bodies. That's why. I thought they were alive now. Oops. There we go. That's funny. Alright, this is going to mess things up though. So, let's do this. Actually going to do this. We're going to do this. Okay. I was actually trying to roll out of there and it just wouldn't roll. But I guess it queued up a bunch of melee attacks even though it's not supposed to queue up like that. Awesome. Awesome sauce. The tearing should be gone now. Although I have to say, I don't know why there's tearing. Because my monitor didn't have it. It was tearing in that setup that I was talking about, which you may not have been on for. But the tearing was actually only on my streaming video output. Oh yeah, I've done this fight enough times. It's more the new game, new game 13 that makes him particularly difficult. Damn it. Ow. Fuck. Come on. Malekith's easy. This guy's a pain in the ass. Now, the fact that I have to keep going to that guy is the pain in the ass. Bush. Yeah, one sec. Do. This is the Ash of War. So, this is a somber weapon, so you cannot change your, you can't change your Ash of War, if that's what you're kind of implied asking. The Bolt of Gransack's Ash is fixed. You pretty much have to get this. Not pretty much. This is the Ash of War it has. I know it's not technically an Ash of War, it's just the skill that it has, but the terminology I keep hearing used online, people keep saying Ash of War when what they mean is skill. So if the literal answer is no, you cannot put an Ash of War on this weapon. It has a skill that is already, like, stuck to it. Sorry. Oh, well, thank you. It's kind of you to say. Uh-oh. I've made a mistake. No, don't apologize. Hell. Okay. I will stick around. I'll explain that as soon as I get to the next grace, which I keep screwing up, but I promise I'll get there this time. Well, I'm not going to promise anything, but as long as I don't screw it up, I should make it to the grace. No problem. Oh, well, thank you. Ah. What the hell? It's getting stuck. Ah! I don't know how I got stuck in the actual thing somehow. I was planning on doing Placidusix next, actually. Okay, so, Hauser, I will do my best to explain to you what they're talking about in a way that makes sense. So, it goes like this. So, when you apply an Ash of War to a weapon, and I have one on me that I can and one that I can't. So, to be clear, I have Misericord and Bolt of Grandsax both equipped. The first indication is the Bolt of Grandsax is plus 10, that's max, and the Misericord's plus 25, and that's max. This uses Somber Stones, and this does not. And one of the easy ways to see the difference, I think it's in all cases, or at least in almost all cases, is Bolt of Grandsax does not have an Ash of War slot. The skill it has is Ancient Lightning Spear. Misericord has an Ash of War slot, this guy right here. The Ash of War I have on it is Sacred Blade. If I did not have an Ash of War on it, there might be, and I think there always is, a skill on the weapon, but you can override that skill with an Ash. So that's the first critical thing to kind of impress in there. So when you're thinking putting an Ash of War on there, people use the term Ash of War to mean the skill that it has, but in reality, Ash of War refers specifically to this, not to the skill that it has. This gives it a skill if it doesn't have one already. Okay, so kind of laid that out there. I hope that makes sense. Now, the second part is this. If I go to add an Ash of War, which you eventually get able to do pretty early in the game, go to Ashes of War, and notice the Bolt of Grandsax is not an item I can pick. I can pick the shield that I'm using because it has this slot. I can pick the Misericord because it has this slot. So if I pick Misericord, and let's say, for example, that I pick Repeating Thrust. It's one that basically goes like dun 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 dun. You thrust a bunch of times in a row. I can then pick an affinity to add to the weapon. So right now, this Misericord in its current state has no passive effect. If I put Fire, Flame Art, no passive effect. It just changes what its attribute scalings are. Lightning, Sacred. Now, Poison adds Poison buildup. Blood adds Blood buildup. And Cold adds Frost buildup. None of these other ones add anything. And Occult gives you Arcane, but doesn't add any buildup. That's its own separate thing. So when people talk about adding Bleed, they're talking about putting a Blood affinity on the weapon, which will in turn add Blood loss buildup on this weapon. Any Ash of War can have an affinity placed on it, but you may not get all the affinities available. For example, the Ash of War that's on there right now is called Sacred Blade, which is here. So Sacred Blade, I can only choose Lightning or Sacred. Neither one of these puts on an Ash of War. But by using the Sacred version of Sacred Blade, it is particularly lethal against undead. And the undead that come back to life automatically, not from a snail spirit caller, but like undead coming back. It will do massive damage when it's sacred. Okay, let me make an attempt. I want to answer the question in a way that's going to give you the best answer. In the way I think you're asking the question, it's yes, but I don't think it. I think there's an aspect of it that maybe is a little bit confusing. So let me, since I'm here, I can show you the second part. Let's say that I'm looking at the weapons in my chest, okay, and I'm looking at something as simple as a short sword. If you'll notice, the short sword, trying to get, hold on, short sword, here we go. The short sword has an Ash of War slot right here. So this is just a regular short sword. This is the most basic weapon that you can have. There's dagger, short sword. This is just the most basic regular weapon. As without putting an Ash of War on it, it has kick. That is the skill that I get with this weapon, is kick. If I choose to put an Ash of War, like Sacred Blade, on this weapon, I will no longer have kick, and instead I'll have Sacred Blade as that Ash of War. And Sacred Blade comes with a skill, which is, whatever, Holy Slash, or whatever it's called. I don't remember. It's called Sacred Blade. So the actual skill is called Sacred Blade. I think in most cases they're the same name, but I don't think that's a guarantee. So when you're looking at, there are really only two categories of weapons. You have somber weapons and you have non-somber weapons. And the difference is somber weapons get their name because you need somber smithing stones to power them up. Other weapons need regular smithing stones to power them up. So any weapon, with a few exceptions that are regular weapons, can have an Ash of War on them. But some weapons can only have certain Ashes of War. So if you actually look at the Ashes of War themselves, which is in here somewhere. Hold on. Look at it from inventory. So if you actually look at an Ash of War, and let's say I go down to Flame Spear. Usable on armaments capable of thrusting. Claws, backhand blades are accepted, but thrusting would be thrusting swords, giant thrusting swords, spears, halberds, etc. Those are what you can put this Ash of War on. I hope that sort of... I know I'm giving you like a much bigger answer, but I'm trying to give you the most correct answer. I hope that all that kind of helps. All right. Placid Dusix. Lightning. Oh, I want to go to Empowered. Okay, okay. And I actually want you because you piss him off. All right, Placid Dusix, let's do it. Oh, let me add one more thing. I hope you're still here, Hauser. Some weapons inherently have passive effects. So, for example, the Rotten Great Axe, forget the word the blood is there. The Rotten Great Axe comes with Scarlet Rot buildup. It's already on the weapon. But that's not an Ash of War. That's just a passive effect of the weapon. I gave it an Ash of War, Lion's Claw, and I gave it a blood version of that, meaning I gave it the affinity blood. So now it has the rot buildup of a rot weapon, plus it has blood loss buildup. The Anspur Rapier is another example of that, which is this one. Anspur Rapier has Scarlet Rot already built into it. It's already part of the weapon. I added Bloody Slash, and now it also has blood loss buildup. By contrast, the Clean Rot Knight's sword, notice blood is inserted in a different spot. The Clean Rot Knight's sword does not have any passive effect normally. Because I added blood tax, it has become a weapon with causes blood buildup. Yes, you have to pay attention though, because when you add a passive effect, it might change the level of the other one. Just keep that in mind. I want this to go back up. Sure thing. Okay. You're asking a big question. I think if you have the points to spend to build it, the most effective build against Consort Radahn is the Anspur Rapier heavy tank build. But you need a lot of levels to do that build. You don't have to use this shield, but it's a good one to use, and it is super ridiculously heavy. Here we go. Why not? Let's eat one of these. Look at that hit point pool. Love it! Gonna open with this. And we're gonna follow up with this. Like that. Stop disappearing, bloody hell. Oh yeah, Consort Radahn's hard as hell. Okay, so if you want to beat him, I'm assuming you're talking first playthrough. Is that fair? You like that? I'm assuming that you're talking about a first playthrough. Okay, so I will give you a piece of advice. There is one and only one highly effective Ash spirit summon against Consort Radahn, and it's Taylu the Golem Smith. This is the one that you want to use. Don't listen to anybody else's advice. They're wrong. Taylu, this Golem Smith, is the sickest, most powerful, summonable Ash for almost every boss in the game. Against Malekith, he's garbage. Because the Destined Death just rips him to shreds. You can't heal him fast enough. But in order for that to work, you need Heal from Afar as a spell. And with Heal from Afar and him, you're done. It's just boom. That's it. So let me give you an example. If you look at hold on, where can I go? I'll go here. Yeah. So if you don't have Taylu the Smith, you want to get him. If you picture the map of the, I haven't been there, so I can't open up the map for the DLC. But if I could, if this were the DLC map, this area, just rough, obviously, he's up here, and it's in a one of the smithy things called Taylu's Smith. Or Taylu's Forge, or something like that. Alright, what I'm going to show you is why Taylu is objectively the best summon for a boss like Radahn. Unlike the rest of the... I'm just going to do Heal from Afar. So watch Taylu's health. You're hitting him for nothing. 47, 88... Well, he's hitting him for 44, 43, 100, right? So they're barely touching him, right? He's beating the crap out of them, but they're barely scratching the surface on this guy, right? And so his health bar is barely moving. He doesn't have a lot of hit points, though, right? If I summon Tish, as they hit Tish, you'd see similar damage being done. But here's the difference. Telu has damage reduction of like 90%. So they barely scratch the surface, but his hit points is kind of low. So watch what happens when I cast a heal spell on him. It's a massive heal. And it, like, at first playthrough, you heal him for half his health. So that huge heal, and he's not even buffed, keep in mind, right? If I go through and I actually now hit him with Golden Bow and buff the guy, now he's taking even less damage. And he's healing hit points back. Right? So you can sit here healing him all day long while he's taking a beating. Any other summon that you do, any other summon, yes, the summons from the DLC, that's the catch. And there is no equivalent to that of that quality in the base game. So by contrast, let me summon... I'm not going to use Tish here, even though I mentioned Tish earlier, because Tish has other things that make Tish super, like, burly. But even... I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to, if I summon a DLC one, part of it doesn't work. It's weird, I thought I cared. Alright, I'll summon Black Knight Commander. This is a DLC guy. Yeah, Taylew. T-A-Y-L-E-W, I think. So watch. So now, I'm summoning another DLC guy. Big old shield, big old mace. Unfortunately, he's going to rip through these guys, I think. Taylew doesn't do a ton of damage. So, notice, they're hitting him for 100. Not 20, they're hitting him for 100, right? So, he's actually being hit for a ton of damage compared to what Taylew is getting hit for. Hold on. Unfortunately, he also does a lot more damage, so let me get... Hey, Slim, come here. There we go. Now we'll get this guy in there, into the thick of it. So look. Now the problem is, if I hit him with a heal spell, it barely touches his health, right? Because he has a ton of hit points. Alright, you're pissing me off. Right? So, when I was healing Taylew, it was doing a ridiculous amount of healing. Now, this guy, I'm healing him, but it's barely any healing. Right? I'll blow an entire FP into this guy just trying to get him healed up, where Taylew only took 2. Right? I couldn't even get him to full health with an entire Man of Art. So, that's the problem with the non-Taylew ones. Okay, early game. Okay, so I have an unpopular opinion on early game summons. The best, like, beginning game summon is the one they give you, the Wolves. The Wolves are actually awesome. When you get up into ng+3, 4, 5, all of the summons from the base game, with only a couple of exceptions, just get so weak that they get blown away. Let me go to... so, the Wolves are fantastic. If you research it, you can get the Rotten Stray Ashes. From a DPS perspective, this thing is a beast. Here, watch this. See if I can get this guy to work. I wouldn't use nobles. They're junky. except in very specific circumstances. So watch the Rotten Stray. So again, he's relatively low power, but watch what happens as he eats this guy. We'll see how much of him is left, right? It's not actually hitting him, which is kind of pissing me off. Watch what happens when he hits these guys. We'll get there, we'll get there. Aww. Alright, look, see? See the guy right here? He's got rot on him build up. See that? That's what that stray does, which is actually really cool. Against a boss, as long as the dog stays alive, it'll keep putting rot on the boss that it's fighting, and it's actually pretty damn powerful. So that was my comment about the Rotten Stray Ashes, and if you're willing, you can pick this one up at the very early game. Anyway, so Rotten Stray is actually very cool early game. But I will actually give you what I think is... Stupid thing. I think the best base game... I think the best base game summon in almost every fight is the Marionette Soldiers. They have one fundamental flaw, and that is that they don't track stuff. They just kind of wander. But they are a beast. Watch this. Oh, you bastard. They're not even hard to heal either, but they're not as easy as Telu. Oi. Yeah, he's toast. That's the one drawback. Is that they're fragile, but look at the mess they make of this fight. Anyway, against certain bosses, against most bosses, that is a beast. The usual, anything you'd use to buff yourself, you buff Telu, but only to the extent that you can. The Golden Vow will make him even more damage resistant and make him do more damage, or help him do more damage, and Blessing of the Erd Tree will give him self-healing. Any buff that you can hit him with is going to be helpful. But if you had only a couple of spells, Heal from Afar, or the ability to heal him is a critically important one. If against a fight like Radahn, it's good to have the extra damage reduction, that definitely helps. But when you're using Telu against Consort, you want to make sure that you watch his health, because there are a couple of attacks that he'll use that can really like bust Telu up, and you got to get in there and get some heals in. But yeah, Golden Vow, Blessing of the Erd Tree. Anyway, no. Yeah. Where were we? Where was I? Oh, yeah, back here. Besides the Great Bridge. Oh, I'm about out of time. Let's see if we can give Malekith, what, 4? At least one time. Oh, I gotta do the Dragon Knight. I hate this fight. This fight's a pain in the ass. And I don't get a helper. I'm much better with helpers. But it is what it is. Oh, God, that guy hits so ridiculously hard. This is, by the way, is not a build I would usually use to fight this guy. Yep, as long as the Rotten Stray... Sorry, I missed that. As long as the Rotten Stray is alive, it'll keep proc... It's every bite is a rot proc, or every bite builds up rot. Alright, let's see. Here. Do. Stand right there, and it's fine with me, buddy. Ow, 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 ow. There it is. Right back down. All right. Malekith, the Black Blade. Do I have everything I need? No. I want that. And I want that. Okay, I don't need you. I need you. Do I want the extra damage? I'm not sure that I do. Hmm? Oh, because I haven't gotten around to selling it yet. That's why. In fact, there's even some talismans you can't use two from the same category, so there's no reason to even have those. So it's not even the same talisman, but it's still not worth having. Yeah, I have multiple shards of Alexander because I just haven't gone back around to selling excess. That's all. Like, there's no reason. Except nostalgia, maybe. I don't know. Oh, I almost made a mistake. There we go. Yes.
Destined death. I will not have it stolen from me again. That didn't do anything. Hey, how do you like this? How do you like them apples? Bastard. Uh-oh. Ah! That's what I get for using Black Blade on him. Poison mist, the other one. Not sure I understand the poison mist thing. You can't make that claim without knowing my stats. Golden Order seals give me an incant scaling of 391. Dragon seal is 353. Gravelstone, which amps these spells, is only 318. So I use it offhand, but I want the shield on. Let's see. This guy. This guy. This.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's a great technique. That one I know. Okay, yes. I mean, if that's what you're trying to do, right? But it's not. Someone said something that I was doing was cheese earlier. That's cheese because you're exploiting a failure in the mechanic. Having said that, I have no problem with people doing it. The game allows it. It's not like you're standing in a tree that's, drawn incorrectly on the screen, and so you can cast and they can't. It's not like you're exploiting a weakness in the game. um, so the reason I want to made a statement before the Malekith fight. I want to back that up a little bit. It's because my stats are ridiculously high. Because I have 80 in both intelligence and faith, an item like the Golden Order seal takes its scaling from intelligence and faith. I've maxed them both. And so I have a super high scaling from that one. The dragon takes a huge amount of its scaling from arcane, but I've only got an arcane of 45. So if I had an arcane of 80 and a faith of 80, I'd probably have a higher incant scaling using that item, but I don't. And the Erd Tree is the same way. So if I look at Erd Tree Seal, the scaling is exclusively faith. There's no in-scaling at all. And so I'm not going to get any more scaling than I would have had just using the Erd Tree Seal with the added piece that I actually get a boost from this when I'm using Fundamentalist incantations, which I do not get with Erd Tree. So Erd Tree's 353. Dragon Communion's the same, right? Golden Order is 391. That's the best one for me to use. My last playthrough, I was doing a build based around Dragon, and so my Arcane was 80. On that one, that playthrough, the Dragon Communion Seal was the best one for me to use. But unless you're doing an exclusively Faith build, Erd Tree Seal is never the best one. In fact, yeah, it's never going to be the best one in any case. The Prince of Death Staff's the same way. My sorcery scaling of the Prince of Death Staffs is 430, which is better than the Carian Regal Scepter, which is only 373. So, anyway, sort of a curiosity. Anyhow, I'm going to call it a night. I got to go to bed. Thank you all for being here. I really appreciate it. Please like, please follow, please do all the things, and come back around. I will be streaming again, and we will see each other, and it will be wonderful. Heads up, I will not be streaming much or at all, and if I am, it's definitely not gaming next weekend in 5 days. I will be out of town at a all-star cheerleading competition, both with my kid and with the athletes that I work for, which are the two are not related. Anyway, be awesome and do great things. Be awesome people. Be awesome to each other and have a great year. And I will talk to you all later.